Have you ever wondered how businesses can effectively use trademarks? To be able to effectively use a trademark for a business, you need to understand the characteristics and functions of each type of mark, as well as clearly distinguish between them, avoiding unnecessary mistakes in business. The same goes for certification marks and collective marks. What are the differences between a collective mark and a certification mark? How to distinguish the two marks? This will be discussed in the following video because many people often confuse them due to the fact that their nature and registration procedures are quite similar. Our video includes 4 parts, which are definition, characteristics, comparison, and references. Now, we are going to talk about the definition of certification and collective mark. Firstly, a certification mark on a commercial product indicates the existence of an accepted product, standard or regulation, and a claim that the manufacturer has verified compliance with those standards or regulations. For example, one of the most well-known certification marks in the United States is Energy Star. Energy Star used to certify that appliances meet certain energy efficiency standards, such as washing machine, refrigerators. Consumers who are interested in purchasing energy-efficient washing machine would look for the Energy Star certification mark on the washing machines so that they can be assured the washing machines are, in fact, energy efficient. Besides, a collective mark means a mark used to distinguish goods or services of members from those of non-members of an organization which is the owner of such mark. For instance, Cambridge University Press is the mark used to indicate the ownership of the publishing business of Cambridge University, or the CA, which refers to the Institute of Chartered Accountants. Following that, we will discuss the characteristics of these above marks. For the certification mark, we'd like to mention some of the most distinctive traits. Firstly, a certification mark is not used by its owner. Instead, authorized users use the mark. However, the owner maintains control over the use of the mark. For instance, the owner of Energy Star does not manufacture and sell washing machines. Rather, manufacturers of washing machines are authorized to apply the Energy Star name to their products if their washing machines meet the certain energy efficiency standard. In other words, the owner of Energy Star is certifying that the washing machine meet or exceed all such standards. Besides, a certification mark certainly does not indicate a source and cannot be also used as a trademark. In other words, the owner of a certification mark may not engage in the production or marketing of the same products or services to which the certification mark is applied by others, or permit others to use the certification mark for purpose other than to certify. So, for example, if USDA organic is a certification mark used to certify that carrots grown by others are done without any chemicals, the owner of USDA organic certification mark may not grow and sell its own carrots, nor may it allow other carrot growers to use USDA organic as a trademark to advertise and sell their carrots. It also doesn't distinguish the goods or the services of one company from those of another producer. Lastly, depending on circumstance, some of the marks are mandatory while some are advisory. Some characteristics of collective mark includes: firstly, It is usually used as an indication to the relevant public that goods or services originate from a member of a particular collective. It is therefore a sign of membership. Collectives above may be referred to associations, cooperatives, organizations and unions, or public institutions. Only members of the organizations that register a collective mark can use it. Even if it's the member of the collective mark that use the mark, the collective holds the mark rights. And lastly, the mark may be a word, a symbol, or a group of words. Take the Cambridge University Press, CUP, for example. Cambridge University Press is a department of University of Cambridge and is both an academic and educational publisher. With a global sales presence, publishing hubs, and offices in more than 40 countries, publish over 50,000 titles by authors from over 100 countries. Even the Beaver runs a bookshop in Cambridge, sells to Amazon, and has a conference venues business in Cambridge. The mark, as seen in the previous picture, indicates a specific book, research paper, is by a member of CPU, published by CPU, and therefore under the ownership of CPU. Collective mark is reserved strictly for the use of member only. The concept of collective mark and certification mark are two concepts that are easily confused. So in today's video, we are going to show the similarities between collective marks and certification marks and the differences between them. First, certification marks and collective marks are both signs to distinguish goods and services. They are used by many individuals and organizations. Furthermore, the term of protection of collective marks and certification marks is 10 years from the filing date and takes effect from the date of certification, renewable for several consecutive terms each 10 years. Next, we move to the differences. First of all, about the function of collective marks and certification marks. Collective marks used to distinguish products of members of an organization from products of other subjects. Products include goods and services. Meanwhile, a certification mark is used to certify the characteristic, quality, and some other characteristics of goods and services bearing such certification marks. It may also be used in conjunction with private labels of certain goods or services. Secondly, about the owner. For collective marks and certification marks, the owner are also different. Specifically, collective marks owner are collective organizations legally established in accordance with the law of Vietnam. They register a collective mark for the member of their organization to use according to the organization's regulations and using the collective mark. The owner of the certification mark is a certain organization with a function of controlling and certifying related goods and services. Moreover, about the users of collective marks and certification marks. Collective marks can be used by only members of an organization that has registered for the protection. On the other hand, certification marks can be used by an individual or an organization whose goods or services meet the set standard with a certified mark and is permitted by the owner to affix that mark. The right of certification and not every new registration can be used, but any subject, if fully meeting the conditions and standard set forth by the owner of the certification mark, may register for a certification mark. It can be said that the main difference between collective marks and certification marks is that the collective mark can be used only by a specific group of enterprise. For example, members of an association, while certification marks can be used by anybody who complies the standards defined by the owner of the certification mark. Finally, about the purpose of use, collective marks and certification marks are used for different purposes. Let's see to distinguish them. The purpose of using the collective mark is to distinguish the groups of members of the collective that owns the mark from those not on the list of members of that collective organization. The purpose of using a certification mark is to certify the characteristics of origin, raw materials, production method, service delivery, quality, accuracy, and safety are other characteristics of goods or services bearing the mark. Certification marks do not indicate the origin of a product, but the collective marks can show the origin of the product. Certification marks and collective marks have different properties and functions, so distinguishing between collective marks and certification marks helps you understand the basic information about these two specific types of mark. Why collective marks can be used to protect intellectual property, certification marks cannot. Here are the references of our findings for this video. I hope you all enjoy it, and thank you for listening.